Hello, everyone. Hi. My name's Lauren Hammonds. Yes, I'm senior programmer at Tribeca Film Festival, and I want you all to join me in welcoming to the stage the star of Native Son, Ashton Sanders.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming.
Welcome, Ash. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say congratulations on a brilliant film and a brilliant performance.
Thank you.
This film is very dear to me, actually, because I'm so familiar with the story. I remember in 8th grade reading Richard Wright's Native Son, and the themes just really resonated with me as a young black man, of course. And the book has been adapted before, but I think that there's something very special about what happens with this film. I think the character of Bigger in the past has been, the way that Richard Wright writes him. I think that he almost embodies the name. He's physically imposing. He's rough. I think what Rashid and Susan did with this was quite interesting, and I thought what you did to embody the character was just truly, truly remarkable. And I was wondering, you found ways to do it with your physicality, with fashion, with just your being. I was just wondering kind of how much of that was on the page when you got there, and how much did you bring as a result of collaboration?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, well, I mean, initially I first signed on to the project because of the importance of the book, what the book represented, what Bigger represented. He can almost be seen as, at a time, a representation of the black man, and we all know he was very controversial as well in literature. And so, I don't know, I feel like when I first read the script, Suzan-Lori Parks and Rashid were very strategic in making the character more human, more relatable in a way, where you have empathy and sympathy for him, and that was all on the page. But he was also so very multi-layered, as you know, but also very, very human. So I think collectively with that, and wanting to collaborate with Suzan-Lori Parks as SLP, with Rashid Johnson, and also with Matthew Libatique. He shot the film, and he's one of my favorite cinematographers. Being able to collaborate with him and like dance with him and seeing all of that collectively was just like a soup, like a gumbo of like good shit, and we were able to just kind of play because everything was in the script, and there was already a foundation that was laid out thanks to Richard Wright. And so, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Matthew Libatique and
Yes.
kind of the idea of dancing with him, because I
Yes.
think in this film there is such a physicality to your characterization, and
Right.
in that frame you're there 1 minute, you're gone the next.
Right.
It's and it helps to kind of also get that anxiety of the character across as well.
Right.
In both this film and what I would say, is your breakthrough performance as Chiron in Moonlight. Yes. You do something very, very beautiful in terms of being able to telegraph alienation. I think that I think that the idea of being alienated, and the idea of feeling that you don't fit in somewhere, is a very complex thing to get across as an actor. And I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about that. First of all, is that
Okay.
first of all, is that a trait that you're drawn to as an actor?
Wow, that's so interesting. I don't know. I'm very strategic with the characters that I choose to portray. But I'd say that I'm attracted to complexity. You know, I like to do work when I'm working. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, these characters have depth. They have meat. They're also very real, and they're also adding something special to the Black narrative in film. You know, like for example, I'd say this is the first time we've seen a Black lead like Bigger, you know, a Black Afro-punk, you know, like as a lead character. That's so sick. You know, like that's so sick. And yeah, you know, I you know, anything that's different, anything that's different and complex, you know, that's what I'm drawn to. You know, and I think that's just me in every aspect of my life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so far, your strategy is more than working. I think.
Cool.
Yeah, and also
Very
just
cool.
the speaking of strategic approaches. I mean, you've had an opportunity now to work with Rashid,
Right.
to work with Barry Jenkins, to work with Antoine Fuqua, and be able to interpret, you know, the amazing text of Suzan-Lori Parks and Terrell McCraney. There's a trend there.
Yeah.
Of working with really, really strong, powerful Black creatives. And I'd love for you to speak on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, it's important to be strategic as an actor or just as a Black actor. You know, there's not a lot of work available to us, for us, that there is to our counterparts. You know, and so with that, I'm trying to cultivate a career that showcases the nuances of what I represent, what I'm trying to get through. And thankfully, we're living in an artistic renaissance, I would say, that allows me to showcase and be a part of teams of people like Suzan-Lori Parks and Rashid Johnson and Matthew Libatique and A24. You know, in my cast, KiKi Layne and Sanaa, Lathan and Nick Robinson, and like, you know what I'm saying, like so on and so forth. I mean, like this project didn't feel like work at all. You know, I felt like we were creating something special because we all knew what we signed onto and what we were creating. Just like Moonlight, I would say. You know, it's like cultivating the idea before you act it out, before you start creating. You know what I'm saying? And that makes the space safe. That makes the environment safe, you know, and you feel sure about what you're creating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just that.
Yeah. I wanted to bring something up. So obviously, you know, this novel, the source material is published in 1940 in a very, very different but somehow sadly similar America.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I read a quote that was attributed to you from The Guardian where you said, America isn't made for the Black man. Obviously, we're living in a progressive society, your generation, you said my generation, but we're paving ways and calling out bullshit. But I feel that there's an old American mindset that's just imposed on people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted to get your take on kind of your thoughts. If you had any reservations in terms of bringing this to because I mean, obviously the script was written already, but telling this story in a contemporary setting, like, were there any issues in terms of the narrative plotting, what you thought audiences would accept at this time?
Not at all. I mean, that quote says what it said. I mean, like, that just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Again, I feel like we're living in an artistic renaissance where I'm able to showcase narratives like this, you know, opposed to it being like 10 years ago where, you know, Native Son wouldn't even be getting the type of attention that it's getting right now. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I mean, I still stand by what that is. Again, that goes back to me saying about being strategic with the work I do. You know, I feel like it's my responsibility being blessed enough to be on this platform, to do work like this, to continue to do work that pushes the narrative, to continue to do work that pushes the mindset, that opens the eye, you know, of, I don't know, like, you know, like a black life, different types of black life. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. I mean, that is what I believe, is that we need to have more creators and more actors behind the camera and in front of the camera telling black stories.
I totally agree.
Yeah, whatever those stories might be. If it's a black
totally
sci-fi
agree.
story, if it's a black drama, comedy.
Yeah, because why not?
Right, exactly.
Right.
So let's go back a bit and
Let's
just kind of talk about how you got into the craft, and how you more specifically how you got into the craft of cinematic acting as well.
Wow, that's.
I know it's a long story.
I'll make it short.
No, tell it all.
You know, I have a theater background. I've only been doing film for like 3 years. You know, like Moonlight was my first, you know, like big, you dig. And so, yeah, I mean, I grew up, you know, doing theater. You know, acting was something to me that was a, you know, like a form of expression of expression of emotion or whatever I was going through as a kid. You know, I was kind of an outsider. You know, I was the artist opposed to the athlete. You know, living in my community. You know, I was separated from the rest. So I grew up in Los Angeles, and I found this acting conservatory called Amazing Grace Conservatory that was founded by Wendy Raquel Robinson. And through that, I found this group of like black artists, like black weirdos like myself, you know? And like, I'm like, damn, you know, these are my people. You know, I feel comfortable for the first time, and I kind of grew up through that program and through their kind of cultivated my craft, you know, and we did musicals, you know, so training and singing, acting and dancing in a conservatory, you know, while still going to school, but, you know, spending my time, you know, like trying to cultivate my craft by choice, you know, was just something that felt nourishing to my spirit, I would say. And so it just transfers, you know. Eventually I'm like, yeah, you know, I want to do some films. You know, I was auditioning for a lot of Disney shit and Nickelodeon shit when I was a kid, but didn't work out because I guess I'm too deep of an actor, you know. You know, and you know, but everything in its time and whatever. And so now I'm at DePaul University at their theater program at the acting school, you know, trying to cultivate my craft again, you know. At this point, I'm doing this because it's a part of me, you know, because it is. Like, I need to do this, even if it's just, you know, being on stage, you know what I'm saying? If I get to do this. And, you know, I get an audition one summer in between, you know, like going into my sophomore, going into my junior year for Moonlight. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, going for the audition. Got the part or whatever, decided to go back to school afterwards, and things started to pick up. And so I had this decision, like, damn, do I stay at school and cultivate my craft? Like, I've been learning so much. Or do I, jump and fucking, you know, like, for my dreams, you know? And I did that shit. And I had, and it's crazy. I had teachers telling me, no, you need to stay in school. Like, and I'm always thinking, like, what if I did? You know what I'm saying? But essentially, all I'm trying to say is, this is me. This is a part of me. So that's my story, real brief.
Yeah.
Real brief.
When you auditioned for Moonlight, were you familiar with Barry's work or with Terrell's work?
That's crazy. So I wasn't familiar with Barry's work, but Terrell Alvin McCraney actually went to the same acting school that I went to. So I was actually in classes with like some of his like instructors or whatever. I'm actually in scene study at DePaul doing like some of his plays for scene work, like The Brother Size, like playing Oshoshi Size and The Brother Size trilogy. That's her album McCraney wrote. So it was kind of this was kind of a godsend, I would say. Like God works in the most mysterious ways because I'm literally doing his work like months prior to me getting his script, not even knowing I'm auditioning for his project. Like it's after like the second or third callback that I get the script. And I'm like, Terrell? Okay. And so I'm reading the script, I'm like, all right, God, and literally had that, my initial first reaction to the reading, to me reading Moonlight, I've never had an emotional reaction like I've had reading that script. You know, I was literally highlighting the lines for Chiron before I even got the part, like there's nobody else, you know? And so, yeah, you know, I feel like God's been really tight in that way where like I've been able to do the type of work that I want to do, but also be able to push the narrative a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're definitely doing that and then some. I mean, I remember seeing Moonlight. I saw Moonlight at the Toronto Film Festival. And
dope. I was there.
Yes, I know you were. And I remember, you know, when the second Chiron appears, and just feeling like, who is this actor here? Because you were such a commanding presence. And then again at Sundance earlier this year, seeing Native Son on opening night and being like, how is this even the same actor?
That's so funny, man. That is so funny.
And now sitting across from you talking to you about
What's
the work.
up?
So
Yeah.
that's what it is. I'm really kind of curious what else you're working on. I don't know how much you can say about things that you're doing now, but kind of what.
Yeah.
You know, but before we even go to what else you're working on,
Right.
we talked about all the amazing creators that you've worked with. Are there any kind of creators that are on your list right now that you would love to work with in terms of writers or directors or actors? I mean, you've gotten to share the screen with Denzel, with KiKi Layne.
Yeah, I've been very blessed to have done that. I don't know. I mean, I just want to continue to do like rad work, you know. Honestly, recently I've watched When They See Us by Ava DuVernay, and I'm just really impressed by her and what she continues to do by, you know, showcasing like social injustices in like the most beautifully tragic way. You know, I really want to work with her, but you know, I mean, whatever comes, man. You know, the universe knows my heart, and whatever comes. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. You think you'll go back to musicals?
Ooh, that'd be cool. We'll see. I'm not opposed.
We just have to let the universe do its work as it is. Yeah. And in terms of anything that's upcoming.
Yeah, man. So right now I'm currently wrapping up a show for Hulu. It's called Wu-Tang: An American Saga. It's a show about the Wu-Tang Clan.
It would be weird if it wasn't, right?
I'm just letting y'all know in case anybody was confused. You dig? But yes, we're wrapping that up. I'm playing the RZA, and that's been very interesting. Your boy is on his music shit. Catch me rapping. You know, I've been training, learning how to spin. You know, putting in that work. It's been really, really cool. And that drops in September, and we're wrapping that up now. So you know, I have a film with Richard Wright coming out in September called All Day and a Night, which I'm really excited about as well. So, you know, we got some shit popping off, y'all. So
Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know, you know, you were saying that your craft feeds your soul, and I know when you work in a conservatory setting, maybe you might have had an opportunity to take on some other roles in terms of maybe writing or directing. Is that something that interests you?
Definitely.
Okay, so we will stay tuned and see what the universe brings for Ash.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
excellent. So I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I want to thank Ashton Sanders, everyone, for this amazing performance and for all the work that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.